My name is Wayne, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to figure out what we need to do to hook up the emergency or parking brake on the Cuda after we put the Baer disc brakes on the car. Now let's open up this box from control cables and see what they look like. So here's the factory parking brake cable. You can see it has a little ball end with the spring right up to it. And what the Baers have is this little hook right here. So their devices are quite different. So that here's the mount where it slides through in the bracket. And I need something with more of an oval slot. That's what they use on their applications. And they don't make one specifically for Mopars. So I gotta get these off and see how long they are and see if I can get something made up. All right, so we were able to get the two emergency brake cables out. The shorter one is obviously the driver's side, and you saw it's really hard to get a camera in there, but they're just have these little retention clips in the bracket that bolts to the frame rail, and once you did that you can slide them right out. So now what we have to do is measure them up. I'm going to try to get a measurement from like mounting point and mounting point, and then overall. So like I mentioned in my rear brake video, when I was removing the factory cables, I quickly realized that my factory ones weren't going to work with the Baer brakes. So I called Baer, and they gave me the contact information for the company who makes the cables for them. So I called them up, gave them the lengths of the cables that my car has from the factory, and they made me a set. So let's open the box and see what they look like. All right, so let's open up this box and see what we have. Alright, so first impression is, man, these things are pretty sturdy. So I gave them the length of the housing as well as the cable. So this little ball end should work with the factory mounting bracket, I'm hoping. And then this end should fasten to the bracket that came with my brakes, and this should go over the parking brake cable. Man, that cable is thick. Pretty slick. All right, so here's the short one. This is obviously for the driver side. Then we have the longer one. That's going to be for the passenger side because it's going to route up and around the rear axle. So, well, hopefully this works, but I won't know until I get in there and try to mate this up to the brackets on the Baer brakes, as well as the factory hanger bracket that we have in the car. So let's take a little closer look at these cables. I'm really impressed with the quality, really heavy duty. You can see the really nice crimps. And one thing that's really neat about these is they have 3 different positions to put your snap ring in. So the factory bracket that holds these up on the driver's side in front of the tire, it's a pretty thin piece of metal. So you're going to use this first slot to put your snap ring in. Now on the Baer brakes, it's a much thicker bracket, so I'll probably use the middle one. So it's adjustable, and it's that way on both ends, right? It's the same style of fitting. Real thick cables, really nice large ball, which fits the factory bracket already. So let's crawl under the car and see how this will bolt up. And the first thing we're going to do is make our life easier before we get under the car is pry off these little snap rings with a flat blade screwdriver. That way we can just snap them on. So real quick, we just got the cables into the factory bracket on the frame rail. And now we're going to slide this through the bracket on the Baer brakes. We'll hook this around the cable. Alright. And now we're going to get our little snap ring on. Alright, that looks pretty good. now we have to go get our adjustments done up front. So I got both of the cables in and I have it all tightened up. If anything, I could have ordered these to be maybe an inch or so shorter. So I only have about 3/4 of an inch left on this threaded rod. So I'm hoping we have enough, it's taut enough to work. But I have it tightened up and feels pretty good. It should work just fine. So let's double check. Yep, this little hook now is parallel to the plate. So that means it's not engaged. And as a double check, we'll just see if we can spin this, which we can. Now the moment of truth, I'm gonna go and press the parking brake in the car and see if this works like it's supposed to. Let's cross our fingers. Well, there you go. We actually have parking brakes now on the Baer brakes. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't that expensive. I'll go over the cost later, but I'm really impressed with these cables. They went in no problem. It went smooth, and if you've never worked on them before, they're not that hard. So much easier than the original ones, that's for sure. And they went in great. So here's my actual invoice I'll show you. Again, the company is Control Cables, and they're out of California. And what I paid, my long cable was $41.80, and the shorter one was $33.80. That's only 75 bucks for those two cables. If you were to go look at universal cables from Summit or Jags or pretty much anywhere, because I did, you're looking at 175, close to 200 bucks for a set of universal cables, and these are custom made. Now where it does get a little tricky, as I mentioned, I measured my cables, and after talking to him, he told me to double check mine and it was a good thing I did, because I ended up needing them to be a little bit shorter. And then in the end, you saw me adjusting my adjuster pretty much maxed out. So it's a little tricky ordering custom ones, is because you can't make them any shorter. They are what they are after you have them made. So if I was to do it again, I would get the actual inner cable probably a good 1.5 inches shorter, maybe 2 inches shorter, so I had more adjustment. But they're good, it works great, but you just got to be careful when you're ordering them, because their factory ones, they enter your backplate in the middle, and then these, they have a mount which is further ahead, so the actual housing is going to be shorter. So you need to take all that into consideration. Maybe do some mock-ups again with maybe some wire if you have any, or try to lay something out to get a good measurement of what you're really going to be needing. But again, so 99 bucks shipped, man, you can't beat that for that quality of product. I was super impressed, and I'll put a link to their website in the video in a few, and you can check that out. But it's controlcables.com. And you know what that means. We get to cross something off our list. That's number 2, parking brake cables. And that always feels good. It's a little bit of a feeling of accomplishment when you get something done and you can actually see it off your list. So I got this done today, which is actually Tuesday. My buddy's going to come over on Thursday, help me bleed the brakes. And then this weekend, I'm going to work on the wheel cribs. That is the plan. Well, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool doing the custom parking brake cables for our Baer brakes. Not something you're going to see every day, but we found a great solution for under 100 bucks. They work really good. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and you know the deal. If you turn the bell notification, you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.